I wanted to talk about what within Prot Warrior changes and Prot Warrior talents. There's some upcoming changes which are mostly positive, I think, and I will just fill in the normal tree. As you can see, things have been changed around quite a bit. I think we're getting to get a lot more beneficial usages. And I will begin by filling in essentials, which is this. And we're going for rend. That's wasted. That is not an essential, but I'm pretty sure we should play it. And this is sus now because my webcam is above it, so we will put it over there. We're going for double time just to reach 100 weapon spec. And I think we're gonna go Rumbling Earth to use a talent point. We're also going to intervene in this. Sorry, it's actually in the other one. It's in the mountain thing that you have to go intervene, I think. Don't have to, but you should. Here, it's probably sidearm. And we go Rumbling Earth, and then we have this. Now, from now on, there's the question. I'm pretty sure we're going Wild Strikes, Avatar, and Unstoppable Force. Rest is kind of fillers. I'm pretty sure we're going Armored to the Teeth over Cruel Strikes, meaning we will probably not go Thunderous Roar. We could go like this, but it feels like kind of a waste, because we might also need the extra stamina. We should also have a Heroic Leap, by the way. It's not a necessity. We can also go like this. In Colossus 3, this is probably what you would go. You shouldn't play Intervene for whatever reason. And I think this would be dumb not to have. I assume it's gonna be scaling somewhat the same, so I'll log my warrior to check how much armor I have versus strength right now. They also did some changes to spear. That's probably not a big deal. We might also have to consider getting Intimidating Shout somehow, but I'm not sure completely how yet. So we should be online maybe. And right now I've got 33k armor. No, sorry, 32k armor, 12.5k strength. So 4% of my armor into strength, 10% is 3.2k, meaning we gain about 1.5k strength, which is about 10%. That's a lot. So we for sure go these talents. I think it beats this. And the question is, do we want to go like this? No, we don't care about that. Do we need the HP? I don't think we will need it, but we might. We might, but I don't think we will need it. So we can actually safely go Thunderous Roar. The question is, do we go Thunderous Words or do we go Champion Spear? I think this is more likely. But this means we also deal 30% more damage with bleeds during the effect, which is probably not going to be too much. It's like an overall 3% to bleeds, basically. Sorry, it's 10 seconds over 90 seconds. So like a 3.5% overall to bleed. Spec talent tree is the same, so we're not going to wonder about that too much. And here we're obviously just filling in everything. But we should talk about the specific talents a bit. So the iconic thing about Colossus 3 is unleash a series of precise and powerful strikes against your target, dealing damage to it and damage to enemies within 8 yards of it. Deals reduced damage beyond targets. So that's a 45-second CD. You can block, parry, and dodge while using this ability. And if I recall correctly, this routed you for 2 seconds. Hey, Decept. Nice, enjoy. Over here, we can either choose, well, sorry, let's go for the first talent. Critical strike damage of your abilities is increased by 10% and the amount of damage blocked by your critical blocks is increased by 10%. Like, this makes it sound like we should be going for crit and mastery, kind of. But I might be wrong about that. Here we've got the option of going for Shockwave, Cleave, Whirlwind, and Revenge. Deal 5% more damage per target affected, up to 5. Colossal Might, so that's quite a lot actually. That's 25% more damage. Like, this is a big AoE thingy. Arterial Bleed is Colossal Might. Increase the damage of your rend and deep wounds by 2% per stack. This might also work as a defensive for some weird mechanics, but that's hard to say. And I'm not sure what this means per stack. I'm not sure why it says that. But technically this is going to be AoE. This is going to be more single target at least. And it's also more complex than that. This is not too good past... No, it's still gonna be good past 5, because I assume you still get the 25% increase for everything that it's striking, but it's only stacking 5 times. Mortal Strike and Shield Slam damage increased by 20%. Like, this is gonna be a pretty big single target thing. Also might increase damage dealt by your next Demolish by 10%. Mortal Strikes and Shield Slam grant a stack of Colossal Might, stacking up to 5 times. So that's a lot. And it looks like it's going to be a lot more fun playing Warrior in general. There's going to be a lot more tracking to do and a lot more coordination behind your gameplay. At least for Pro. I don't care about the other 2 specs too much. Colossal Might increases damage of your Overpower and Revenge by 5% per stack. So it's kind of the same thing as Punish, just even more efficient. Mortal Strike and Shield Slam critical strikes grant an additional stack of Colossal Might. Doesn't still kind of say what... Okay, we get Colossal Might here. Yeah. Alright, it's fine. But that's kind of whatever. That talent is kind of pointless. I don't think that's going to be an issue having 5 stacks. It's just going to help you get it faster. Colossal Might now stacks up to 10 times. If you would gain a stack of Colossal Might and are at max stacks, the cooldown of Demolish is reduced by 2 seconds. So there, it starts playing a role, because it's gonna give you a bigger reduction. I think this is gonna be a pretty fucking fun build too, actually. Enemies affected by Demolish take up to 10% more damage from you and deal up to 10% less damage to you for 10 seconds based on the number of stacks of Colossal Might consumed by Demolish. Okay, so it's 1 to 10% then. And that's probably just a passive effect. Here we've got the option of Bone Shaker versus Earthquaker. Bone Shaker Shockwave stun duration is increased by 2 seconds. This is something you would go in a... Let's say you would play with a priest, a mage, whatever healer, and then whatever. But in that comp you do not have too many stuns in general, so you wouldn't mind having a longer stun either. But in a comp, let's say you played with a Windwalker, Resto Shaman, whatever, you would probably go Earthquaker, because Shockwave is then gonna work whilst the enemies are DR'd. So it's whichever comp you are in, etc. Taking damage has a chance to give you a second mind for 2 seconds, which I think is pretty shit. We just go for No Stranger to Pain. And Mountain of Muscle and Scars, it's whatever, right? 5% more damage, 5% less damage. So in the end, this is kind of a solo warrior gameplay. You don't help the group too much, you deal some damage, you blast, right? It's quite versatile, it seems like. It should be pretty good in both single target and AoE. But let's check out Mountain Thane. It's gonna be impossible for me to say which one I would go for before actually trying them out, and I don't have an alpha, so. Damaging enemies with Thunderclap, Revenge, Raging Blow, or Execute has a 15% chance to also strike one with a Lightning Bolt. I think one major thing that's gonna be a difference is the Colossal is gonna be more of a Shield Slam Revenge build, and this is gonna be more of a Thunderclap Shield Slam, if I recall correctly. So lightning strikes occur 50% more often during Avatar. And also another massive thing is if you for whatever reason would go immovable object, you definitely play Colossal. You might also consider going Crackling Thunder for this build. And then perhaps going full spear for this. But it's a tough call, and it's gonna be hard to say in beforehand. Something else that you do in this build is that you are definitely going Intervene. So we would consider dropping either Pain Gain or Heroic Leap. Potentially Victory Rush, but I don't think so. Potentially Rally, it's kind of a shit talent anyways. But the options are endless. And could go like this as well, but that wouldn't make any sense. So you would probably just fill in that one. Remove like Heroic Leap then and fill it in. So basically Call of Thunder, we're taking it because there's no options there. Storm Strike or Nature Damage, your abilities deal is increased by 5%. So it's even more to... wait, no, Thunderclap is physical, but the Storm Strike effect is nature damage, yeah. And Thunderclap damage increased by an additional 50%. So in this build, you would definitely play Unstoppable Force, by the way. Your Thunderclaps are gonna fucking smack. It might even be a thing that you play, use Thunderclaps as prio on single target. Shield Slam and Blood Thirst have a 20% chance to grant you Thunder Blast, stacking up to 2 charges. Your next Thunder Blast does so. Your next Thunderclap becomes a Thunder Blast that deals Storm Strike damage. So it puts all your... I'm not sure if that means that the entire Thunderclap is gonna do nature damage or not. Next one is Victory Rush increases maximum health by 10%, or Thunder Blast reduces damage take by 4% for 5 seconds. And we probably go for Thunder Blast. Unless you're in a... maybe on Tyrannical weeks it could be Steadfast as the peaks. Then we go Avatar of the Storm, and this is gonna make this build quite a bit more fun. Casting Avatar grants you 2 charges of Thunder Blast and resets the cooldown of Thunderclap. While Avatar is not active, Lightning Strikes have a 10% chance to grant you Avatar 4 seconds. So that means that we're generally just going to be getting Avatar like left and right. Currently we've got like a 50% uptime of Avatar. It's probably going to be more like 70. The next Thunderclap becomes a Thunder Blast that deals Storm Strike damage. Right. Lightning Strikes also deal 20% of attack damage to enemies near the target, damage reduced beyond 5 targets. Okay. Stormbolt also hits 2 additional nearby targets, stunning them for 2 seconds. Intervening a target grants them a shield for 5 seconds that absorbs magic damage equal to 3 times your armor, which is a big thing. The sad thing is that it's only magical damage, but it will be still effective on most bosses, I would believe. And that is probably what I would end up going for in this build, and might be some of the decisive things if you play this build, or if you play Mountain Thane or Colossal, by the way. Gathering Clouds, your attacks trigger lightning strikes 15% more often, or Thorm's Might, lightning strikes to generate 3 rage. Revenge, Raging Blow, and Execute damage increased by 15%. I think we would go for Gathering Clouds, unless we, for whatever reason, would want to not play Blood Surge. If we consider that, let's see. Punish, boom. Go Rend. Or do we even go rend? That's the question, but I think so. We might not even have to go rend, by the way. Meaning we would probably play like this and Crackling Thunder here. And into the frame, most likely, and during defenses, probably. Anger management, yes. Defenders ages. No, impenetrable wall, of course. Probably disrupting shout instead of instigate. It might be sus about rage gain now. I'm not sure if this is gonna be possible or if it will be. We could potentially go that, but I don't think so. I think we would just go Champion's Bulwark or Battering Ram. If needed, BSV even. This is just a potential, by the way. Like, this is very sus. This is not playing any rend or whatsoever. Shield Slam damage increased by 20%. Bloodthirst and Rampage. That's whatever. Obviously, it's just increased to Shield Slam. So that's another positive in this. I don't think you're gonna have to use too many Revenges in general. It's gonna be kind of like now. But in the other build, I think you want to use Revenge. Flashing Skies. Chance for lightning strikes to critical strike is increased by 5% and the critical strike damage is increased by 10%. This is in general gonna increase our value of crits and make us maybe want to go for that. That's still not a very good talent. Pretty shit if you're not going for Thunderous Roar. But this feels like a possible build. Or Lightning Strikes reduces the cooldown of Ravager by 1 second, which might also be another potential, because it might be needed for a rage gain. But I think it's a damage loss, so Lightning Strikes have a 20% chance to make an X2 Shield Slams or Bloodthirst have no cooldown. I think that's a lot, by the way. Like, that's a very high chance, I feel like. But I think both builds seem very viable. The Colossal one seems to be more for... Colossus, sorry. Seems to be more for Shield Slam Revenge leads. Like, we would probably play... You would probably take that even if you can. No, we can't drop that. We do not go for that. Do not go for that. Here we go, Heroic Leap. Armor to the teeth. One-handed weapon space. You could consider going a movable object. If you want like a more defensive build, kind of. Probably not worth it, but this build should not be too much about Thunderclaps. It should be more of a filler. So that's crit damage, increasing our value of critical strike again. Shockwave, Cleave, Whirlwind, and Revenge per target affected. So I think that's what we would go still, but it's a bit sus. Mortal Strike and shield damage increased by 20%. Bam bam bam, stacking up more. Colossal Might increases damage dealt by next Demolish by 10%. Mortal Strike and Shield Slam grant a stack of Colossal Might stack up to 5 times. Colossal Might increase damage of your overpower and revenge by 5%. So that's revenge, and Shield Slam buffs. And crit damage. Overall damage, revenge, and Shield Slam. Mortal Strike, Shield Slam. Critical Strike, grant an additional stack of Colossal Might. Shockwave knock up. More ignore pain healing. And we have what, a 15% damage reduction in this build in general, not necessarily dependent on demolish stacks. Is that AoE or is it single target? It goes to 8 targets. Ah, no, it goes to everything, but reduce damage beyond 8 targets. Okay, well, that's my thoughts. We went through it, but okay. I cannot say in any way which build you should play or what you should care about. But my thoughts are, in this build, you would also switch class talent tree. You would go for Rend, you would go for Blood and Thunder. And you would potentially drop one of these talents here and go for Blood Surge. I think this is gonna be more rage gained. But you're also gonna use more rage, I think. Gonna have to, which is still a positive for anger management and no pain, sorry, leeches and whatever. I think both builds are sounding very interesting. But as I said, I think in Mountain Thane and Storm Shield might be a decisive thing. I do nonetheless think it's a very positive change for Potwire, but I think we should still get maybe even more changes to the class tree. Sorry, not talent tree. But as I said, with the potential of dropping Rend, we're getting a lot more options. And it feels like the potential of that is what the class tree was made for. A potentially no Rend build. Dropping this as well, obviously. Right, consider that we're having Champion Spear as well and getting more Rage Gen on that. It might still be a thing to go Thunderous Roar to just pick up insta threat. It's gonna feel a bit sus. I think this is gonna be more single target oriented than the other one. I think that's it though. You might consider going Bloodborne on the other build, but I don't think so. Bloodborne has just not been a very valuable talent in general. Or prop. Thank you all for watching. And let me know what you think in the comments. Ciao.